Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you've ever felt completely drained, confused, or just flat out frustrated by love, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're going to fundamentally shift how you look at relationships by diving into some pretty profound teachings from Sadhguru. We're breaking down the true mechanics of love. We'll get into why so many relationships eventually go sour, and more importantly, how you can completely upgrade your own internal emotional technology to stop that from happening. So let's just jump right in with a question that honestly plagues almost everyone who's ever been in a relationship that didn't work out. Is unconditional love truly possible? I mean, people say they're in love all the time, right? And they genuinely believe it's this unconditional, everlasting thing. Yet in most cases, it doesn't lead to long-term happiness. It just falls apart. So why is that? Well, to figure that out, we kind of have to completely redefine what we actually mean when we throw around the word love. And what's really fascinating here is how Sadhguru redefines it. He says, love isn't something that's done to you. It's simply a sweetness of emotion that happens entirely within you. Think about it. When you experience love, it doesn't actually matter who stimulated it. It could be one person, it could be someone else entirely. But the fundamental truth, that experience of love is happening inside your own body and your own mind. It's a sweetness of your own emotion. Which brings us to a pretty massive reality check. We all buy into this deep-seated romantic myth that love is somehow, in the air. You know the exact feeling. You fall in love and suddenly you think the flowers are blooming just for you, the birds are singing your name, the clouds are parting for you. But the actual reality, it's much more grounded. It was never in the air. The truth is simply that another person stimulated something inside of you, and what was happening inside you became so incredibly exuberant that you just started seeing it everywhere. And that brings us to the core illusion we all fall for. If that sweetness of emotion is entirely yours, then what role does the other person actually play? Well, Sadhguru points out that you're really just using the other person as a key to open up an experience within yourself. But ask yourself this, why on earth are you using a key when there isn't even a lock? Why use a key when there's no door, no barrier whatsoever? You already possess all this joy and exuberance inside you naturally, yet somehow you've convinced yourself that you need someone else to unlock it. To really hammer this point home, Sadhguru has this hilarious comparison. He compares this reliance on others to owning a push-start machine. Imagine having a vintage 25-year-old Ambassador car. If you own a car like that, you always have to park it on a steep hill. Why? Because every single morning, you literally need two people to push it just to get the engine running. If you park it on a flat surface, your family won't even come out of the house to help you. You are completely 100% dependent on someone else giving you a push just to get your day going. Now compare that to how we operate in relationships. We have what you could call push-start love, where you rely on someone else to start your emotional engine every single day. But think about the cars we drive now. They're self-start, right? A lot of them even have remote start. That is a technological upgradation. We need that exact same technological upgradation for ourselves. We need to become a self-start machine. This represents a human being who has upgraded their internal technology so much that they wake up overflowing with joy, entirely by themselves. So you've really got to ask yourself right now, you are essentially this incredible walking institute of technology. Wouldn't you rather wake up in the morning overflowing with joy, love, and exuberance without needing anybody else to stimulate you? Wouldn't you like to upgrade your internal technology so that you're on self-start? Because if you keep relying on others to jumpstart your happiness, you are inevitably going to run into some major relationship problems down the road. This leads us directly into how we actually form partnerships. There are basically two ways to enter a relationship. The first way is the default for a push-start machine. You enter the relationship because you want to extract something from somebody. You need them to provide your joy. The second way, the upgraded approach, is entering the relationship because you are already overflowing with joy and you simply want to share it with somebody. If you're out to share, your life is going to be wonderful. But if you're out to extract, you are basically setting yourself up for disaster. The really crucial point here is that extracting joy is exactly what makes love affairs tedious and, frankly, horrible. Think of the other person's affection like a water tap. If your entire supply of happiness comes from their tap, what happens when they have a bad day and turn it off? Things get terrible, and they get nasty fast. I mean, you've seen people who thought they were absolute perfect lovers suddenly turn on each other, right? It's not because there's anything inherently wrong with them. It's simply because they started on the completely wrong footing, falsely believing the other person was the source of their joy. To show just how manipulative this whole extraction process we call love can actually be, Sadhguru tells this story. Picture this. Shankaran Pillai is walking in a park at sunset. He sees a pretty woman on a bench and sits down. After a few minutes, he scoots a little closer. She moves away. He waits, then moves closer again, until she's literally at the edge of the bench. Then he waits for the sun to hit that absolute perfect romantic angle, drops to his knees, and confesses his undying love. The ambiance is right, she yields, nature takes its course. But then, at exactly 8 p.m., he abruptly checks his watch, gets up, and says he has to leave right away because his wife is waiting. Okay, while it's a pretty funny story, it captures a somewhat dark truth about how we operate. The phrase, "I love you," is frequently used as a magic, open sesame mantra. People use these three words not to genuinely share joy, but to fulfill a whole hidden checklist of needs. You say open sesame to extract physical needs, psychological support, emotional validation, financial security, or even social standing. You use the mantra because, well, half the time it works to get you exactly what you want. But make no mistake, that is extraction, that is not true sharing. If you truly want to fix your relationships, you really have to embrace one absolute truth. Whether you are experiencing total misery or absolute joy, the source is always, always within you. It is entirely for you to decide. If you're a joyful human being by your own nature, people are naturally going to want to be with you. But if you're in misery and you're relying on them to fix it, they're only going to endure you for a short amount of time before they completely burn out. And cultivating this internal sweetness of emotion isn't just about having better romances either. It is a fundamental necessity for your entire life. If you want to take really big steps in the world and achieve great things, you absolutely need a foundation of sweetness and love in your heart. Without it, the daily friction of the world will just grind you down. As Sadhguru jokes, if you try to take big steps in the world without this inner sweetness, you're just going to end up terribly frustrated and probably move to Canada to escape, where you'll spend your days hanging out with nothing but moose. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one critical question. Are you a self-start machine? The next time you feel frustrated in a relationship, I want you to step back and ask yourself if you're trying to use the other person as a key to a door that doesn't even have a lock. Are you still parking yourself on a hill waiting for a push? Or are you finally ready to become the source of your own joy? Your engine is waiting. It's time to turn the key.